Muy buenas tardes a todos nuestros amigos radioescuchas. Les mandamos un enorme y cordial saludo desde los estudios de BT Radio Universal en el área de Tacoma, Washington. Queremos mandarle un abrazo fraternal a nuestros compañeros del 95.3 FM de la KTQA. Y bueno, pues esta tarde quisiera hacerles una presentación de una persona, varias personas que nos vienen a visitar. So good evening to everybody. So greetings from the BT Radio Universal Studio in Tacoma, Washington. So I wanted to send a big hug for our friends from KTQA 95.3 FM and to all the people who is listening inside the Tacoma Detention Center. So this evening I have like a really special guest, and I would like to introduce you with Alejandra Gonza, who is the Director of Global Rights Advocacy. Quisiera presentarles esta tarde a nuestros invitados especiales. Es Alejandra Gonza, que es Directora de Defensa Global en Derechos Humanos y profesora de leyes de Human Rights School Seminar. Y también tenemos a sus estudiantes, Rina, Steven y Rosalind. Sí, muchas gracias por estar aquí. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Ale. So I would like to say about Alejandra. So she was working since many years ago with the Resistencia and all the team, and she is one of our experts in laws. Es una de Alejandra, tenemos muchos años trabajando con ella en la Resistencia. Es una de nuestras expertas en leyes. Y nos gustaría que nos platicaras para las personas que no conocen, que es acerca de esta organización que es Global Rights Advocacy.
Muchas gracias por la invitación. Global Rights Advocacy o Defensa Global en Derechos Humanos es una organización sin fines de lucro que tiene la misión de dar acceso a mecanismos internacionales de protección de derechos humanos a personas que no tienen el dinero o la posibilidad de tener una defensa internacional por un abogado de derechos humanos. My name is Alejandra Gonza. I'm the Director of Global Rights Advocacy. It is a non-profit and the only non-profit in the state of Washington with a mission to provide free human rights defense for those who can't afford it.
So I'd like to know, why do you decide to be in this organization? ¿Por qué decidiste estar en esta organización?
Decidí estar en esta organización, de hecho soy fundadora de la organización porque encontré un vacío en la denuncia de graves violaciones a derechos humanos que se cometen y que suceden y que son perpetradas en distintos estados, incluyendo Estados Unidos, y que necesitan, tras fracasar en los ámbitos domésticos esa protección de derechos humanos, otras vías. Y la vía que nos da el derecho internacional de derechos humanos es una que permite buscar caminos para denunciar, para documentar las violaciones a derechos humanos, para visibilizar y crear conciencia en las cosas que están sucediendo también en un país como Estados Unidos, porque muchas veces tenemos una concepción errada de que solo las violaciones de derechos humanos ocurren fuera de los Estados Unidos.
No.
I forgot what I said, but I will try to say. I founded this organization because I found a vacuum in the state of Washington of providing international human rights law as a legal service for those who not only cannot afford it, but also who try to seek justice or remedies in the United States, and they can't. They don't have the resources. They are not domestic resources to fight an injustice, and they decide to seek another avenue or route, and that's the international human rights advocacy that I do, and I work with La Resistencia for a long time, collaborate with La Resistencia to find those avenues at the international level.
Oh, wow, thank you so much. And since a long time ago, you founded this organization. ¿Desde hace cuánto tiempo está fundada esa organización?
La organización la fundé justo antes de la pandemia. I founded the organization right before the pandemic started. But it was built upon my previous work as an international human rights lawyer. I used to direct the International Human Rights Clinic at the University of Washington, and before that, I worked at the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, the Inter-American Court on Human Rights, and I really wanted to provide an organization that could give expert human rights defense in a way that no other organization was doing it here.
Yeah, and thank you for that, because we really need this kind of organization. So I was talking about sometimes are like roles in we should be following for the government from USAID, but also from some business who are like behind the government.
Yeah, and that's one of the important elements of international human rights law, that it's created to bring light and accountability of governments, right, of states, of countries. But at the end, it developed in a way that it's evident that perpetrators of human rights violations are not only state actors, but it could be coming out of the lack of the responsibility to respect human rights from corporations too. Sometimes governments delegate their obligations and their duties to companies, and all those companies are also bound by the need of respecting human rights and the need to prevent, mitigate, and remedy those rights when violations occur. Ahora que lo digo en español, bueno, creo que el derecho internacional es una herramienta muy importante de defensa y de protección en derechos humanos, porque no solo otorga herramientas para señalar la responsabilidad de los estados por violaciones a derechos humanos, cuando todos los sistemas domésticos fallan y no hay una respuesta, sino también que se ha desarrollado para generar la responsabilidad de esos estados también por violaciones a derechos humanos que son perpetradas por compañías, empresas o actores privados que se les denominan. Entonces van dando una respuesta importante para encontrar otro camino. Es importante señalar que se usa el derecho internacional de derechos humanos cuando han fallado los mecanismos internos, cuando las respuestas no se han dado desde parte de las autoridades, que son quienes primeros tienen que responder, mitigar y remediar las violaciones a derechos humanos.
Oh, qué bonito trabajo. Muchas gracias, Alejandra. Y me gustaría saber cómo nuestra audiencia puede apoyar este enorme trabajo, de verdad enorme, que están ustedes haciendo.
De distintas maneras. Pueden visitarnos en nuestra página web www.globalrightsadvocacy.org. Y ahí tenemos distintas maneras de colaborar. Se puede colaborar siempre, necesitamos dinero, donaciones directas, mensuales. También se puede colaborar con voluntariados, con tus habilidades, ¿verdad? Con tu arte, de todo tipo. Tenemos voluntarios que han hecho un trabajo maravilloso, y sin voluntarios y sin estudiantes que trabajan y aprenden el derecho internacional y lo adoptan como una herramienta también para sus futuras carreras, no podríamos salir adelante. Entonces, todas esas maneras de colaborar son muy bienvenidas. You can collaborate in different ways. You can go to my website, www.globalrightsadvocacy.org. There are different links and different ways to donate, monthly, one-time donation, or different ways. But you can also donate your time, donate your talents from art, people with art skills, or even accountants or things, any any collaboration, we are welcome because we are a nonprofit with a volunteer base and with an educational piece that brings us a lot of talent. As you can see here, I am with 3 of my students. I'm also a professor at the University of Washington School of Law, and I teach the Human Rights Advocacy Seminar where we learn about these international human rights mechanisms, and I teach how to use it to my students.
Sí, muchas gracias, Alejandra. Y como, bueno, entonces si ustedes pueden donar, les invitamos a que donen ya sea tiempo o si ustedes pueden donar efectivo o a través de alguna tarjeta. Eso sería muy bueno para estar apoyando el trabajo que están haciendo. If you can to collaborate and donate with the organization, that will be amazing, because this kind of organization we really need this in this country. So because are making a really wonderful job. So like Alejandra, like you say, you're like Dr. Alejandra Gonza is a professor of law of human rights seminar. Doctora Alejandra Gonza es profesora de un seminario de leyes que se llama Derechos Humanos, Advocacy.
Defensa en
Derechos Humanos. Gracias. Y bueno, precisamente estamos viniendo de un tour. So you arriving from a tour around the Tacoma Detention Center, alrededor del centro de detención de Tacoma, y queremos presentarle a sus estudiantes, a Rina, a Steven y a Rosalind, y me gustaría que me ayudes.
Sí, cómo no.
Me gustaría que me ayudes. Y queremos hacerles algunas preguntas. Están un poco nerviosos. So the students are a little bit nervous. It's the first time. But I'm asking to Alejandra for help me to make some questions for them. So, but the first thing who I would like to be asking, lo primero que me gustaría preguntarles es, what do you feel about today's experience, like going around the Tacoma Detention Center? Lo primero que quisiera preguntarles es cómo se sienten ustedes en esta primera experiencia de hacer un recorrido alrededor del centro de detenciones de Tacoma.
Yes, okay, thank you very much for having us. For me...
Gracias por tenernos.
So for me, I think aside from the fact that we having the lectures in classroom, which is more of a theory-based kind of teaching, today is an ample opportunity for me to see firsthand what is actually happening on the field. When I say on the field, I mean seeing first time how the detention facility look like, and also to see the good work that people like La Resistencia and other stakeholders are also doing, in this fight, to ensure that injustices are not just meted out to people who are actually in detention. So yes, 2 things. It also, showed me the reality that some people are actually detained, some people are in detention without actually knowing when they are going to come out of there. So they actually need human rights lawyers. They need individuals who can actually speak for them, who can actually fight their cause and ensure that at least they get the freedom, which for us we think it's very key.
¿Traduzco?
Por favor.
Para mí ha sido muy importante salir de las aulas y ver realmente qué es lo que está sucediendo. En las clases aprendemos la parte teórica de lo que significa una detención arbitraria, una detención de migrantes, pero haber venido aquí y verlo de forma directa ha sido muy importante. Y también comprender la relevancia que tiene que las personas que están detenidas en el centro de detención de Tacoma puedan acceder a abogados de derechos humanos también, a una forma diferente de trabajar.
Sí, thank you, Steve. Really, really. So it's wonderful to be working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is Rina, and I think today's tour is really meaningful and impressed experience. And because when I saw the detention center, I think they try to make this building looks like a peace place, but actually it's not. And you can feel that there are two entire different worlds, outside and inside. And I think sometimes that I think you have to search for something, or you have to do this actively to see that there are totally different places than where you live in, and there are such people who living a really different life than you. So that makes me feel sometimes overwhelming. Yeah.
Creo que la experiencia para mí ha sido muy significativa por estar presente en un lugar que intenta parecer como un lugar que es un lugar bueno, que no sucede nada. Sin embargo, adentro la gente está viviendo otra realidad, una realidad tan distinta a la realidad que ella misma vive como estudiante, de poder tener su libertad y poder estar fuera de ese lugar, y que haber visitado el centro para ella en algunos aspectos también es una experiencia avasalladora, ¿no? Y que muy impresionante ver eso y lo que vive la gente en el centro.
Thank you, Reina.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Roslyn. From the way you look at things physically, you think it's a beautiful atmosphere, you think it's a beautiful architecture, but deep down on the inside, we see that, well, I haven't seen, but I've been taught that there are migrants in there that are suffering. They have been detained. They have been restrained beyond their consent, and so when you have that mindset, seeing the layout, you see everything is so purposeful. The way they go out of their way, the staff over there, they go out of their way to kind of shield you from all the atrocities that they have caused towards migrants. It's so heartbreaking, But what makes me peaceful when I'm there is seeing that beautiful, altar for the late Charles Leo Daniels. It brings me happiness that we're trying to let this world have awareness that, America may look like heaven, but deep down inside, there's atrocities behind closed doors, and we have to live up to what we say about peace, fairness, equality, all this free will, all these beautiful ideals. We actually have to live up towards that, because migrants have really, they have benefited this country. We thrive. This economy lives off of them. They have sacrificed their life. They put themselves down for everyone to enjoy the freedom that we're talking about. So it's an honor to be there. I also wanted to say that being there, I think we also triggered them a little bit, because we saw a lot of movements just by being there. I don't know what's running through their mind, but when we were there, we would see like some of the staff maybe taking a picture or seeing what we're doing, or we've seen a lot of cars going in and out, and I'm like, wow, La Resistencia, they are such a force to not be reckoned with, So, I mean, it's an honor, but I'm also heartbreaking and at the same time, and it's an honor being with Dr. Gonza. She's amazing, and hopefully we can shut this place down. Thank you.
That's difficult to translate the whole thing. It is beautiful. Realmente va a ser difícil traducir todo porque fue muy lindo. Creo que un buen resumen es que este lugar a ella le rompe el corazón. Y le rompe el corazón por saber la forma en que los inmigrantes en este país, a los cuales necesitamos, los que son el corazón de este país, sean tratados de esa manera. También ha reflexionado sobre la fuerza de la organización La Resistencia, que nosotros, habiendo estado afuera haciendo una clase, enseñando el derecho y conociendo el derecho, se pusieran tan nerviosos y que empleados de GIO pasaran una y otra vez mirando y observando qué era lo que nosotros estábamos haciendo, sacando fotos, y realmente le da también esperanza por la fuerza de la resistencia, y que esté una organización también poniendo los ojos en las situaciones que están pasando en el centro de detención. Y de nuevo, al principio comenzó con una reflexión sobre cómo se ve en sí mismo el edificio, que intentan hacerlo parecer algo que no es. Es una cárcel, es un lugar donde la gente se les restringe sus libertades, donde no se pueden ver a sus familiares, donde los inmigrantes tienen una realidad absolutamente inaceptable para un país como los Estados Unidos, un país que se supone que está basado en la libertad y que hace lo que hace con los inmigrantes en los centros de detenciones, como el Northwest Detention Center. I don't know if I honor all your beautiful wording, but that's what I came up with.
No, thank you so much. It's beautiful, and thank you all for your amazing job. I think it's a big responsibility to be studying the thing who you are studying right now, because in the future you will have some commitments. Sí, yo creo que muchas gracias por todo su trabajo. Creo que es una gran responsabilidad todo lo que estamos aprendiendo, que están aprendiendo, para poner en práctica también en el futuro. And I also would like to know, what do you think about, because also Alejandra, Doctora, today was your first time making the toxic tour.
Yes.
I would like to
Yes.
know what you all observe and what you can to tell us, to our auditorium about. Me gustaría saber qué ustedes piensan desde primera vez que fueron a nosotros le decimos la caminata tóxica, el Toxic Tour. Me gustaría saber qué es lo que piensan y se podrían hablar de esto con nuestro auditorio.
¿Quieren comenzar? You want to start? What do you think about it? What we did, it's called the toxic tour, because we see the part that is the contaminated part of the area. So what do you think of that?
To be honest, when I heard about that, it gives me some kind of goosebump, because I come to realize that beyond just being in the detention, it means that they are surrounded by toxic waste that can also affect their health. By extension, can also be a kind of debilitating effect, to their existence. That can even cut in terms of their life expectancy, because without the contaminant in itself, it's hazardous, to them. And for me, I do not see a reason why a detention facility should be located in this kind of environment, because looking at from what we've been able to see from the landscape, it looks like the entire area is more of an industrial industrial layout, where ordinarily you do not expect to see residential buildings. Now to cite this kind of facility here, for me, I think it's in itself is injustice. And I want to believe that government or anyone is hearing this now, they should try as much as possible to look into that, probably to completely close down the center, or probably to look out for a different location for them, because to be honest, you can see from a distance that every work is being done there. Metals, rusting metals are actually being compressed. It's a site, it's a gory sight to behold, I must confess. So for me, I think this is not something that is actually in the modern day century. We do not expect that people should be subject to this kind of treatment.
Voy a tratar de resumir. Él está reflexionando que hacer el tour le dio piel de gallina, ver cómo en un lugar se tritura metal y la contaminación que eso puede ocasionar, pero también el impacto que puede tener en la gente detenida. Lo hace reflexionar sobre la inhumanidad en sí del lugar, que no es posible que un lugar donde es una zona industrial, un área que está visiblemente contaminada, pueda ser un lugar en donde se encuentre un centro de detención con migrantes viviendo ahí cerca, y que eso es lo que los lleva a pensar que tienen que trabajar para cerrarlo, que no debe estar ahí, que eso va a tener un impacto en la vida de las personas que están ahí, en su futuro, en su salud, y que por eso mismo el trabajo para cerrar el centro es importante.
Thank you. Yeah, when we arrived at that area, and I was told that there are no residents in this area because it's a toxic area. The soil, they were polluted or something like that. But the detention center built there, so I think it's just hard to imagine that when the detainers, when they come outside to the yard, they will smell the toxic gas or something like that. So I think it's a kind of human rights violation. Yeah, it's harmful to their physical and I think also mental health.
Rina reflexiona que para ella es imposible pensar que las personas detenidas en el centro de detención no tienen un impacto directo por estar expuestas a la toxicidad de la zona, que había un cartel incluso que decía que eran zonas tóxicas, ¿no? Y que sería muy difícil para ella creer que podrían los inmigrantes no ser impactados, incluso cuando van a la yarda y cuando están ahí fuera, que están tan cerca de esta zona en donde están trabajando con esos materiales con metales pesados, ¿no? Esa fue su reflexión. Thank you. Thank you.
I wanted to add to what they all said. This is a form of environmental racism. Let's just go straight to the point. It's a biohazard. I mean, no one will want to put their family members next to all that toxicness. And yet this is how we treat migrants. We deem them as subhumans, practically speaking, in a detention center, and we think it's okay. And so, I mean, it was so bad looking at all that toxicity right there, right next to them. And you're killing them. Every time this happens to them, this is killing them slowly, over and over again, over a time, right? And so, yeah, you're not killing them, but you're killing them slowly. And their health start to dwindle, their respiratory start to dwindle, you know. All of this is environmental racism towards migrants that have been there beyond their consent, right? And so I also wanted to say there's a lack of emergency exits in that facility. Well, like when there was fire going out, you know, smoke coming out, there wasn't enough exits. These are things that are violating the human rights, the inherent rights of these people. No one can take or give it away. It's inherent because they're human beings. And so I think we need to focus on that. And, you know, yeah, politicians, like, focus on us because this has to come out. This is an issue. If this is happening to your family members, I bet you will let the whole world know. And yet you can't even do this to your fellow man. There's something wrong with that. So I do want to point that out.
Roselyn, ella está reflexionando y es una opinión muy, muy importante. Que lo que ella testiguó yendo al tour es un racismo ambiental, que ninguno de nosotros quisiéramos tener a nadie de nuestras familias expuestos y sufriendo lo que sufren las personas que están detenidas, y que así estamos tratando a nuestros hermanos. También ha reflexionado que la realización del tour le hizo conocer más en profundidad algo que le había preocupado cuando estaba trabajando en los recientes hechos, ¿no? El incendio que hubo hace unas semanas, y que no solo el lugar está en un espacio de contaminación ambiental, sino que también carece de medidas de seguridad para atender una emergencia como un fuego. Es decir, cuáles son las salidas de emergencia, cuál es el plan de evacuación, y evacuaron a las personas cuando hubo un incendio dentro del centro de detención. ¿Cómo es posible que esto esté sucediendo?
Y eso es algo que está pasando desde hace muchos años, y no vemos ninguna posición de los políticos de partido al respecto. Y queremos también que ellos tengan una posición política abierta ante toda la gente, porque como bien los muchachos estaban diciendo, esto es racismo medioambiental, y este lugar no debería estar en este lugar. Al parecer está registrado como real estate, y no hay ningún hotel cerca de esa área porque es un área industrial. So I wanted to make mention, so thank you for the observations of the students. We are looking for some political positions from the people responsible in this area, for Catwell, Moonray, and people from the city of Tacoma, because like we know, like the Tacoma Detention Center is registered like a real estate. So we don't think it is possible, because we don't saw any hotel around an industrial area. So we really polluted. So we don't think this is fine. We don't think this is human. And definitely, I agree with Rosalind, this is like a environmental racist. So we need to be taking care about this kind of issues.
Thank you. Well, for me, it was, I think, a simple thought. It is like, why are we doing this? Why? And how this is happening in these states? And who has the power to stop it and is not using their power to stop it? Mm-hmm. I do think we've done a lot. We've done enough. And I see over and over again authorities doing the same thing. And at the end, there's no accountability. Mm-hmm. There's no change of the path and the way they respond to grave allegations or concerns from different organizations and people and family members and people in detention themselves, that they are trying to defend themselves from horrible conditions that they should not be in for trying to immigrate to this country. And so for me, it was kind of a reckoning moment where you see the place and think, who had this idea? Right? And why cannot we change it? Mm-hmm. It's wrong. It's simply wrong. And trying to find a simple path of reversing the story, right? Why are we going to treat immigrants this way? It's not going to give us, as a country, a future. And so that was my thinking of going there. It's like, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
We don't, sometimes it's like, oh, well, we are going to create a task force to see if there is pollution there. We are going to create a commission to, I think we have it all. We know the place in and out. There's so many studies done already, so many analyses. And from the global rights perspective, the one that we bring is the one of the people in detention all over the years, that they talk to us, they describe in their own words how they experience the center. And that's why we're here, because change didn't happen yet.
Yeah. And creo que nosotros tenemos que también, que nosotros como sociedad tenemos que reenseñar a los políticos de partido que ellos son los que toman las decisiones y que no son solamente el tener el nombre de autoridades. No, ellos son representantes nuestros y tenemos que recordárselos y tenemos que recordarles y hacer que ellos hagan su trabajo. Es por eso que es importante que nos organicemos como comunidad y no nos olvidemos de estar juntos para luchar en contra de las injusticias sociales como lo que sucede en estas áreas. No es el único caso. También sabemos que van a hacer una mega warehouse aquí en el área de Tacoma. Que las autoridades decidieron colocarlo sin consultar a la gente que vive a sus alrededores. Pero este tipo de situaciones tenemos que recordarle a nuestros políticos que están para trabajar por nosotros, porque su sueldo es pagado con nuestros impuestos, con nuestros taxes. Sí, I think we have to remember to our authorities, they are not only the authorities for, they are representatives of the people. They are our representatives, and they have to do their job. And it is why it's important the organization of our communities. So it is important we have to fight together against the injustice, and to remember that we are humans, but you are here because we pay taxes for your salary. So you have to represent with dignity, because we was confident with you, and you don't. So that is not okay. It is a political, to be a representative for us is like is the confidence of the people on you. It's not only to do like money or business. That is not okay. We need to think about the behavior of our community and to be a better human people.
Yes, and you're right. And I think one reflection for me is like, let's not start from scratch. We came a long way. In 2020, the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, an independent body of the Organization of American States, with a request for an injunction, precautionary measures, they are called, assessed different elements of danger and grave situation at the detention center here in Tacoma. With all the evidence we submitted, and found that people, all the people that were detained there during the pandemic, were in grave danger of suffering irreparable harms to their right to life and health. And that there were not, even though we sent all the information, the government responded, there were not alternatives, and not alternatives to detention as a civil jail, right? Like the electronic monitoring. They were not community-based solutions to a civil infraction of the law, and they recommended the United States to give the path of freedom to the immigrants, to give priority and release the ones that were at risk of dying because of the virus in the detention center, and to provide all the information and the different ways the government was taking care of the people in detention. And that is still in vigor. And that is the reason why we send more information about the concerning recounts of not only in the last 3 weeks, we had one death in custody, several attempted suicides. How desperate you have to be in a place to only have that as a tool for calling the attention of the authorities. Hunger strikes, they have to starve themselves to be able to see eyes, to be able to have information about their cases, to be able to put some light into what is going on inside. A fire, solitary confinement, still solitary confinement. And that's just, we are just highlighting the worst of it. But we have so many other instances where at the end, the question again, why? Why? What are you trying to do with this? What's the purpose? And that's the problem. The purpose is punitive. The purpose is criminalizing. The purpose is punishing immigration. And that's wrong. Ahora tengo que decirlo en español. Bueno, estaba haciendo una reflexión de que las autoridades en este estado y en Estados Unidos como país no deben empezar de cero. Tienen que empezar por donde estamos. Es un centro de detención y el único centro de detención en todo el país que tiene lo que se denominan medidas provisionales de la Comisión Interamericana, medidas cautelares de la Comisión Interamericana de Derechos Humanos, que es una orden, una resolución en donde se logró comprobar que las personas que están detenidas en el centro de detención en Tacoma en el 2020, cuando fue lo de la pandemia, se encontraban en una situación de grave riesgo de sufrir daños irreparables a su vida y a su integridad personal, y que el Estado debía buscar mecanismos de conceder la libertad, como muchos otros lugares estaban dando medidas extraordinarias para, en vez de encarcelar a los inmigrantes, dejarlos en libertad por una cuestión de salud pública. Y el centro de detención no era un lugar en donde se registraban libertades, no había forma que ninguno de los mecanismos legales disponibles funcionaran para crear estas libertades durante la pandemia. Pero esas medidas cautelares siguieron vigentes y siguen vigentes en el sentido de la exigencia de los órganos internacionales para que Estados Unidos respete la integridad personal y la salud de las personas en el centro de detención. También tuvimos una acción urgente de Naciones Unidas y vamos a seguir. Estas circunstancias tan graves han sido puestas en conocimiento de las autoridades internacionales y ese es parte del trabajo que seguiremos haciendo. Y el trabajo se hace con la profunda convicción de que en algún momento las autoridades van a tener que despertar y van a tener que hacer las cosas diferentes y van a tener que conversar con nosotros para ver cuál es el camino para lograr que se acaben las torturas y la detención arbitraria de los inmigrantes que están en estos lugares de reclusión en todo el país.
Sí, es realmente lamentable todo lo que sucede dentro del centro de detención de Tacoma. Hemos sido muchas veces hablado con los detenidos con casos muy, muy difíciles. So it's like really hard to, because we was like listening the case of many of the detainees are really hard case. So it's really difficult the situation who many people inside the Tacoma Detention Center are like that in that situations, and inclusive the medical conditions are really hard too. And also, I would like to ask to the students. So, how do you feel? Also, how do you feel to be in this seminar with Dr. Gonza?
I mean, like I said earlier, it exposes me to a lot of international instruments and mechanisms, for human rights, advocacy, human rights activities. And for me, I don't think I can belong to any other place aside from where I am now, because it strengthens my work that I do back in my country, and it also gives me, like a leverage on what I'm doing. And that's why we give it all to Professor Gonza for taking us through this process, taking our time to not only allow us to sit in class. And I said today, I took a lot of pictures. I've been able to see, so I think, yes, in addition to just being in class, I was able to meet not only to see what is happening there, but also meet with, staff of La Resistencia, and to also hear about the good job that you guys are doing. So yes, it further strengthens me. It's going to improve my performance back in my country.
La experiencia de él de estar en el seminario que enseño, del seminario de derechos humanos, defensa en derechos humanos en la Universidad de Washington, en la Escuela de Derecho, ha sido una experiencia muy buena porque le ha dado instrumentos internacionales para usar cuando vuelva a su país. Y también lo ha sacado de los confines de un aula y una clase para llevarlo a ver directamente las cosas de las que estamos hablando. Y ha sido una experiencia que le va a dar a él muchos instrumentos para hacer un mejor trabajo cuando vuelve a su país.
Thank you. Yeah, I think this seminar gives me an opportunity to use what I learned, to use law into practice, to, I think, really help some people, maybe. Yeah, so that is really makes me feel that, I do something meaningful. And sometimes I think if you just every day you just go home and then go to university and you live in a really comfortable apartment, you study in a really comfortable laboratories, you will not realize that there are so many people, they suffering some things in this world. There are also human violations in this modern world. So I think this seminar gives me that such opportunity to find out there such things happen.
Para Rina ya está reflexionando de que el seminario a ella le ha permitido poner en práctica la ley y no solo estudiarla y aprenderla, sino ponerla en práctica y tiene la esperanza de que con el trabajo que está haciendo pueda ayudar a alguien en concreto. También que le ha dado la perspectiva de que estudiar para ella no es solo estar cómoda en su apartamento, que es muy bonito y muy lindo, ir a la universidad, ir y venir, sino también exponerse al sufrimiento de otras personas que necesitan ese trabajo que se está haciendo a través de derechos humanos y de tener un contacto directo con estas experiencias que tienen las personas inmigrantes en el centro de detención de Tacoma.
Yes, so for me, I kind of like to add to Rina's what she said. I mean, it's an honor, knowing how privileged you are just being an American or just being a student, getting to learn about the conditions in which migrants are going through makes you realize how much you should be grateful for. I also want to say that it's an honor standing in solidarity as a student with migrants by being part of Dr. Gonza's group. It's just a beautiful opportunity. I come with a background in social work, so I'm going to be able to humanize experiences with those who are in detention center, interviewing them, understanding what it's like for them to be in such gruesome conditions, and how we can advocate to the Inter-American Commissions and tell them about what's going on, tell them, report to them what's going on, why these people are slowly dying inside this facility when we're in America, a land of freedom and hope. So anyway, I just wanted to add that, it's a great opportunity for me to stand in solidarity in this seminar.
Roselyn, ella reflexiona de que tener la oportunidad de estudiar en el seminario le ha abierto las puertas para entender y mirarse a sí misma con los privilegios que tenemos, privilegios de ser americanos, ciudadanos americanos, o de todos los privilegios que tenemos como estudiantes, y poder llevar a la práctica esos privilegios y usarlos porque hay otra gente que no los tiene. Tiene una preparación en trabajo social y el seminario le ha dado la oportunidad de poder conocer de primera mano la experiencia directa de las personas detenidas y de las personas que han sido liberadas y han podido ser entrevistadas para conversar sobre lo vivido, y que le va a dar, ojalá, más instrumentos y para desarrollar la empatía y para desarrollar otras habilidades que se debe tener para defender a los inmigrantes que están en el centro de detención. Y yo reflexiono, si quieres. Bueno, my reflection on the seminar is that over all this time we have been talking about such difficult realities, and it's not our realities, difficult realities of the people, immigrants and families affected by the system. But the seminar, my students, give me hope, and I'm always glad that we take the steps to get out of the classroom, come here, expose ourselves to some level of discomfort or unexpected experiences, just to, for me, instill in that youth, in that willingness, in the hope and in the belief that we can change things. In the next generations of lawyers, advocates, social workers, every kind of student that is involved in this cause is bringing me hope in the future. Sometimes we get tired. Sometimes it's exhausting. Sometimes it feels hopeless, right? When people with all the power in the world cannot even say the name. Mm-hmm. Charles Leo Daniel. Oh my God, I can't. I need to wait for an investigation of ICE and GEO, right? Come on. So that's when my students give me the hope and give me the energy to continue. No, Professor Gonza, don't be tired. Just go ahead. Let's go together, because, again, it makes me feel that we are not alone, that the message I always hear when I go to share with you guys some of the vigils or the different events that you have is that loud scream, you are not alone, right? We tell this to the people in detention, you are not alone. There are people out there caring. But for me, my students are telling me, you, Professor Gonza, you are not alone. Your small organization is not alone, right? And that the crazy things I was thinking that could happen as a change when I became a human rights lawyer as a young person could still be there, and it's because of them, right?
Yeah, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you so much. We really appreciate, and also like part of the report of la Resistencia, que es el nombre de este programa. El reporte de la Resistencia es decir que 7 de abril se cumplió un mes del fallecimiento del señor Charles Leo Daniel, y pues tuvimos la presencia de muchas personas que estuvieron, y no queremos que esto pase desapercibido. No queremos que esta muerte del señor Leo, de Charles Leo Daniels, pase, no queremos que vuelva a suceder, ni en esta facilidad del centro de detenciones de Tacoma, ni en ninguna parte, porque ninguna persona merece un trato como el que recibió. And so we like part of the Resistencia report, I want to say this. April 7 was a month of the death of Mr. Charles Leo Daniel. So we had a presence of many people, like joining us, like bringing flowers. We're inviting to bring flowers or candles if you can't, to be joining. We want to do permanently this altar because we don't want this death repeat not only in the Tacoma Detention Center, in any facility, because the conditions that Mr. Daniels was happening inside the Tacoma Detention Center was really inhuman, and we don't want this repeated in any part of the world. So that is not okay. We're waiting for the autopsy. We're waiting. Still, it's taking too long. It's taking too long, but we're like waiting for the reality about what's happening, because we don't want only ICE and GEO, they inspect themselves. We would like to have other kind of investigation, independent investigations. But we're thinking this is taking too long. We're like claiming to the authorities, to the job who they to show the truth of this really strong success. But I really wanted to appreciate all your students. Thank you for being here. Thank you for accept to come. Thank you for being today outside of the detention center, making the tour and making the respiration with this like really ugly smell. And thank you, Dr. Alejandra, for all the job you do.
No, thank you to you. And I think for us, we learn more than we taught today, because between our students, we also have the leadership of La Resistencia, asking incredible questions with a lot of knowledge that we need to continue doing this. We need to keep going and keep doing these teach outs that will bring the class out of the confines of our beautiful campus in Seattle to this place in Tacoma. Thank you, Wendy, for allowing us to be part of this.
No, thank you so much. And to all the people who is listening inside the Tacoma Detention Center, we want to say, no están solos.
No están
No están solos. You're not alone. 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 Yay! Thank you so much.
No están solos.
Voz Tacoma Radio.